Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to share my favorite brushes. I've only chosen 12 of them. These 12 are my favorite and I use them on my daily basis. Let's start from this longest and the biggest brush. One is from TIMAGE and one is from Pink Lake. I think you guys already can recognize TIMAGE's color. This is TIMAGE contour brush and this is Pink Lake blush brush. This one appeared in a lot of my videos. I think I mentioned since I tried and used this type of blush brush, I'm not going back. I literally just change it to this one forever. When you choose this type of brush for blush, just need to bear two things in mind. One is the top hair needs to be very soft. So when you touch your face, even poke your face like this, you shouldn't feel too dense to like something poked on your face. But at the bottom of it should be hard enough to actually support the brush. So when you actually touch your skin, it doesn't go flat like that right away. If it goes like that, it means the brush is a little bit too soft. Sometimes it will impact your pigmentation, the blending result on your face. So this type of brush normally have two type of hairs in the brush. One is much more softer and longer. The other one is slightly harder and shorter. This one you can tell there is a color difference as well. The black one is a little bit shorter. It's more to just support the brush itself, and the top layer is more for the blending and grip the powder itself. This type of brush I use the different brands as well. I love Pink Lake the most. I just find from the size perspective, this one is not too bulky, too big. It's neither too small that you need to blend for a long time, and especially for the size of mine, needs to have slightly bigger blending area compared to normal, let's put that way. And I find this one is absolutely perfect size for me. I also use the same brush for the contour as well, especially when I use the blush color that I wanted to melt in with the contour color. I normally just use the same brush and it works perfectly for the contour. But when I contour my face on its own, I use TIMAGE one. Let me compare this one with normal contour brush. This two are the normal contour brush, which is very common in the market. The shape and the size is very common in the market. When you compare this one with TIMAGE, first of all, you see the size. This one is bigger, and you see this two is a slightly similar size. Can you tell? But when you turn it, can you see the angle of TIMAGE? Whole design of this shape is to help you hold the brush, and is absolutely right angle when you hold the brush, you try to contour your face. When you do this, when it's straight pointed, you need to tilt your hand like this to do like this maneuver. When the design already kind of curved for you, all you need to do is you hold your hand flat and just sweep like this. You don't need to have this maneuver anymore. I know it's a tiny difference, but when you actually use the brush, the experience of using the brush make difference in it. The more convenient, the better result a brush can deliver, the more you're going to use it. And the TIMAGE, this one I find from the size, from the hair and the design, and also the blending result, I find the TIMAGE one gives me the best outcome, the most natural outcome I'm looking for a contour result. So every time I want to just do the contour itself, I pretty much just use TIMAGE's one. It's not too big, it's not too small, and the brush hair is about right hardness. It's not too soft, neither too hard. If it's too soft, again, you don't have enough support when you want to blend the powder onto your face. when it's too hard, the whole experience of using it is not nice. You just feel something very pokey on your face. But this brush is just about right, and also it's very, very pretty. I sometimes just using the edge because it's been curled. So sometimes I just using the edge for the nose contour. If I don't need to have a very precise nose shade, I just do like that. Like this. However, I rarely use this one for blush is because of the density of this brush. It is quite thick for blush use. It sometimes can grip too much powder than you actually wanted. So it's still better just use for contour. Cannot be multifunctional as this brush, by the way. For nose contour, in most of my videos, you guys probably see a brush like this. For my nose contour, yes, it's very good one to use, but off the camera, I normally use this brush. This is supposed to be a concealer brush. It's from a brand called MSQ. Look at the size. To be honest, if you have a fairly slim nose yourself, you may not like it, but I really like it. It's because the bulkiness of it. Therefore, it hardly will give you harsh lines, because when you apply on the nose, it needs to be as natural as possible. Otherwise, very much noticeable. It's right there. Compared to this shaped nose brush, this one, if your contour powder, or especially creamed contour, is a little bit thick or sticky, this one is not that easy to blend it out. This brush originally is designed for blending the concealer. Therefore, it has the density of blending thickness out. So regardless what product you're going to use for the shading area, this one can easily help to fog it out, blend it out, and make it like soft to connect with the rest of the face. If you're looking for an easy use nose contour brush, try this type of one. Next one I'm going to recommend is from the same brand, MSQ, is this little brush. So the density is slightly lighter compared to this one. This one I used to set my under eye area for powder use. One is because of the shape. Have a look at the shape. It's not a complete circle or round. It's like how to say, a hinted water drop. So it goes round like this, and then have a little bit of slim area over here. And this size is perfectly for the under eye area, see? Right? The size is perfect. Besides, if you look at the angle, it's not a flat completely, neither curled too much. It has a good like tipping point over here. Therefore, it's literally just matching your under eye shape. Besides, the hair itself is really soft. Even for under eye use, you don't feel, you literally just feel like similar like your finger patted off. So I use this brush if I use slightly heavier concealer for the under eye area, or I use a liquid concealer for the under eyes. I use a powder separately to set my under eye first before I use the puff to set the rest of the face. Then I always go for this brush. And I do have different setting brush. For example, there's 3 of them. This is from Mousse Waves. This is from a Pony Effect. And this is slightly smaller from the same brand. They all worked. Like this shape in particular was, you know, very popular a few years back. Everyone seems to use it, and it still looks like perfect shape. But when you actually use it, you find that this brush is okay for the rest of the face. But when you do want to use for the area like under eye area, needs to be a little bit more precise. But those one, although it's pointed, it's still very hard to get into the, how to say, as close as possible to your waterlines. Hence this, you know, might always go to. Let me finish the concealer brush before we move on to the eyes. Concealer brush, this one appeared in a lot of my videos. It's called the Flawless Face A. I have no idea how to pronounce this brand. I'm sure you will be able to find a similar shaped concealer brush on Amazon probably, but it needs to be like this. This design is inspired by your own finger. So the way it's tilted and curved, very similar like your own finger. And also just be careful the length of the brush. It shouldn't be too long or neither too short. If it's too short, it's a little bit too harsh, especially when you're blending the under eye area. It's easy to get the brush marks. If it's too long, same problem, easy to get brush marks, as well as it's too soft to blend in, especially cream product out. You need something to be like this. When you touch the surface with a good curve, like a finger, you should pretty much feel it's flat on your face. And how to use this type of brush is not to sweep, it's literally tap blending purpose. So let me use gelled eyeliner just as an example, like that. You just use the brush, dip into your preferred concealer. I'm just going to use the TIMAGE one. For the area like this, when you need to cover a bigger area, so instead of the sweep motion, you use tap motion. So I do need to see it myself. You do it like that. Can you guys see? And then blending the edges, same tapping motion. And when you have like individual spot marks like this, how I normally do is, let's use this one as an example. You use the brush, apply this, you press first, leave for about a few seconds, 1, 2, then you do a motion like this, pretty much like that. You apply, sweep, apply, sweep, like that, but not too harsh. Okay, you need to leave some coverage. So this will give you a natural thicker coverage over the top and a thinner coverage over here surround the edges. Then you just use the same tapping motion to just soften the edges. But still leave the central coverage. And very, very easy to achieve that result by using this brush. So, and you guys know when I have on and off skin problems, like spot marks over here like that, and on the chins over here, I always use this brush. And another one is more smaller, precise one. This one is a little bit more typical, which is a very thin, flat, pointed concealer brush. And then this one, I just want to see the side of it. Can you see how flat, how slim this one is? This one works very well for individual spots. So, same principle. Apply the product. Then use a similar technique. Let me use this one. Okay, it's very hard to focus on the monitor as I need to be a little bit more precise. So all you do is, let me do this way. So all you do is you press, make the brush flat, then you sweep like that. You see, give you similar effect as the heaviness in the middle and the more soft and thinner towards the edges. Then you use the other side, which is like sponge dot. This is like sponge material, like that, see? And then you use this side to smudge out the edges. So I find that this one is also very friendly when you just tiny little bit area needs to be covered. And also this brush works better when you want to retouch the area after few hours or after you already set with powder, because this brush, the point can be very precise. So these two are pretty much my concealer brush. Okay, move on to the eyes. These two are very old friend, appeared in a lot of my videos and also in one of my favorites as well. They are from Red Earth. It's like a set. So this is the blending brush. This is also a blending brush, but in a smaller size. I actually bought another set just in case to stock it up. This shows how much I love them. This blending brush in particular, have a look at the shape. It's like a little fan, but also have a pointed area and a thick, bulky enough. But here is not flat. Here is also angled on both sides. When you're using this type of blending brush, try not to use like right point to the area. You need to be more angled, to use more sideways of the brush to do the blending purpose. And I find the size, the density, the hardness, the length of the brush is so easy to use and so good and matches my own eye shape very well. I find a very important thing when you use brushes for the eye looks. Depends on individual eye size, eye structures. You will find some brushes suit you better, and you do need to discover that by yourself. You know, every time when I use this blending brush, if some eyeshadows cake up on my eyelid, it definitely is the eyeshadow's problem. It's not this brush's problem. To be honest, this brush has very much helped me to blending some difficult eyeshadows that put that way. And come as a sister pair is in a similar shape, but smaller. Everything smaller. This one is very good to blending your main color on your eyelid as well as the out corner area. When you want to blend more precise or the colors that you want to be very close to your lashes, how I do is I angle this to be more point onto my eyelid and then sweep like this. It will keep the color in the area I want, but blended well. So this set I use it every single time for my eye look. Another three. Let me talk about this one first. This one I have been used for about 7-8 years. Yeah, 7-8 years. This one I got from UK. I can't actually see the brand here. It's called Echo something. I got from TIMAGE. I think in the US, I also saw this brand selling in TK Maxx equivalent. What's Max? Can't remember. You guys probably familiar with that shop. Anyway, this is two sides. So this one is blending and this one is slightly shorter for the smaller area. I use the blending part the most. It's the hair and the size of the blending, because our especially Asian eyes are much more smaller. Therefore, when you're blending, especially darker colors, needs to be more precise. But you same time want the colors to melt and merge in with each other. This blending side, look. When I put for the outer corner, can you see the right size for it as well? And because the shape of it, considering I washed this brush million times, it still kept a fairly good shape. When you look at it, it's slightly pointed, but not too much. What do I mean by too much is this. It's like this. Can you see? Compare this to this one, you can really tell it's very much pointed. This one is, but a fairly rounded head. So when you use this type of blending brush compared to this one is better to blending things out. This one sometimes, because of the point itself, when you're doing a circling motion like that in a small area, because there is a point, so sometimes I find the darker color just go around the circle. It still stays there, not kind of melting out. But when I use more rounded head, then when you do the circle motion, it helps the central point to start melting out. Like a circle, you know, starting from the central, starting melting out. You know, those small details really make difference on your entire eye look. So if you're in TK Maxx or in US, I'm sure you'll be able to find this. This also sells on Amazon's as well. I think called Echo something. Echo brush? Just search Echo brush. You'll definitely be able to find it. The other two are Chinese brand. This one from MSQ again. And this is, I can't remember the brand. Oh, User is called. And is the number Z204. This one is kind of my second go-to when the red earth one is dirty, for example. So if you look at two of them, they have a very similar shape. It's just a slightly bigger size, but the hair itself, it is softer compared to the red earth one because the length as well, right? So this one, although it's slightly longer, but when you need to blend into smaller area, this one still work perfectly. And for User, this brush, have a look. This one I use is for blending the darkest color in the most smaller precise area. I usually use smaller brushes like this. Well, I still use occasionally, especially when this one is dirty. This one is, you know, this type of smaller brush is very common to blending the darkest color closer to your waterlines, closer to your lashes, or just in a small area of your out corner. But I find this one works better in a way. I think it depends on your eye shape, because my eyes are, how to say, fairly rounded at the front, but a sharper dip at the end. So I like my eye looks a little bit like extended out. So I need the darker color to go that way out. So I need more blending out like this. When I use smaller pointed brush like this, sometimes when I blend, it just keep like blending a line, doesn't actually melting out. But when I use this type of brush, have a look, it's a similar length but more flattened, but it's still thick enough. Have a look at the thickness. It's not like a flat. If it's a flat and thin flat, that wouldn't work either. This needs to have a good thickness of it. And when I use this type of brush to blend in the darker color and follow my wing, it gives a very foggy, very natural, smooth blending effect. The result is just better than this type of a brush. So, hope that makes sense. You know, the brushes, these things also depends on your own eye shape and depends on the way you like to create your eye looks as well. So they are my babies. If you have similar eye shapes like mine, or you like my type of eye looks, like it goes that way a little bit. I'm sure you will also like my brushes. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on my next video.